Howdy folks, I'm Laconic Lacerda, lazily lounging on leafy lawns.
I'm Amber.
And here are more leafy lawns for us lizards to lounge upon. Let's get started. At least it isn't hyenas. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling the Police on My Boyfriend for Locking Me in the Bathroom? I'm a 20-year-old female and my boyfriend is a 27-year-old male and we've been together for 2 years. Besides this event, he is really so kind to me and so good. I've never seen him like this before. Basically, what happened was that I went out to a coffee shop to study with a few friends. I'm in university and we have our midterms this week. I was there from about 8 a.m. to noon on Sunday. Today is Thursday as I'm posting this. My roommate is one of the ones who I was studying with and she is also my best friend. I let her know that I was going to leave from studying to go to my boyfriend's. Well, when I get to my boyfriend's, he told me that I smelled like coffee, my clothes, and my hair. I said, oh yeah, probably because again, I sat there for 4 hours. He said that he really couldn't stand the smell and that he needed me to change. I was planning on spending the night, so I had clothes, but I really didn't want to change right then and there, which was not the hill to die on, I see that now. It started a kind of heated argument, and I ended up snapping at him and telling him to stop and to leave me alone or else I would leave. After me raising my voice, my boyfriend grabbed me by the shoulders and literally forced me into the bathroom. He locked me in there. I don't know how. I was banging on the door, and he told me that he wouldn't let me out until I washed my hair. I tried to get out for like 45 minutes, but he wouldn't let me leave. We were arguing through the door. Eventually, I just got into the shower, but even then, he wouldn't let me out. At this point, I was sobbing because I had a throbbing headache and I just wanted out of there and I was getting claustrophobic. He kept me in there for 3 hours. I was sitting down in my towel, sobbing and begging, and he just wouldn't let me out. Eventually, I realized that I had my phone and I called the police. I don't know why I was so desperate. I didn't want him to get into trouble. I just wanted clothes and to get out of the bathroom. The police showed up, my boyfriend let me out, and they talked to both of us for a long time. Obviously, nothing serious ended up happening, but my boyfriend is mad. He yelled at me so much when they left. He asked me if I was dumb, and if I understood how much trouble we both could have gotten into. I told him that he shouldn't have locked me in there then, and that I was sorry, but not really. He hasn't accepted any of my apologies. Am I the jerk for this? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, definitely not the jerk. In OP, this is not a good sign. This is abuse, what he did. And, like, I understand that abusers can be really charming and charismatic and nice when they want to be, but he has shown you what type of a person he is. And so, I know, like, just leave isn't always, like, a feasible option or the option that people want to take, but I think it's important to think long and hard on this situation. And are you in a position where you could not be with this person because what he has done is inexcusable? It's just so horrible.
And I agree that, abusive situations can be hard to understand. It looked like they were pretty young when they started dating. She was 18.
She was.
Well, I know. She was 18. He was 25. And so this is probably her first serious relationship. And so she may not really have seen the warning signs up to this point. Well, one thing that is in the comments that OP hasn't mentioned here is that her best friend is actually the sister of this guy here.
Oof.
And so that does complicate things since that's her roommate, and the roommate apparently will probably try to smooth this over type of thing, right?
Yeah, that's not good. If you have other people in your social network, I would recommend leaning on them for this because unfortunately the best friend is not a trustworthy person in the situation.
Yeah. Also, apparently the best friend is how OP met her boyfriend. So I think that this is a difficult situation and I hope that OP can work through it. But again, this is not a good place to be at. What he did here was unacceptable, and this should be OP's, sign to get out right now.
Well, on top of that too, him, like, the way he refuses to accept any guilt, the blaming, the, like, do you see what you could have done to us? Mm-hmm. First of all, OP shouldn't have gotten in any trouble because she was the one being locked in the bathroom. So trying to make it her, like, afraid, like, oh no, I would have gotten us in so much trouble. You wouldn't have gotten both of you in trouble. He was getting himself in trouble.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Potato with Flipper says, Why are you apologizing to this guy? He held you hostage for 3 hours and then had the audacity to get mad at you for reacting. What he did wasn't cute, it wasn't funny, and it wasn't necessary, and it wasn't respectful, and it wasn't appropriate. And it sure wasn't kind or loving. Please dump him before he physically injures you. And Data Slinger says, exactly, this was false imprisonment, a crime. You should have pressed charges. And Specific Ad 2541 says, she should press charges against her boyfriend and file a report against the cops who showed up and did absolutely nothing about her being falsely imprisoned for 3 hours. OP, don't ever apologize. You did nothing wrong. You didn't choose this wireless hill to die on either. His behavior is a huge red flag for coercive control. Get out now while you still can. And OP replies, the cops were not interested in what happened really. The female cop asked me if I had borderline disorder in response to me saying that I got uncharacteristically mad. I do not. And here's a little bit of an expansion. There were some more threads, but OP continues, no, basically, I heard them come in and I was standing at the door. When I came out, they asked me if I was okay, and I said that I just wanted to get dressed and they left me. I heard my boyfriend saying that I locked myself in there and that I came out after they asked us both what had happened. I said that I was uncharacteristically mad because of the argument that we had. The male cop looked at my boyfriend and raised his eyebrows with woo, what a mess. I just let my boyfriend lie after that because I was just so embarrassed and I still had a throbbing headache. The female cop separated me and asked me if I was okay and safe, and I said that I was fine. It seemed like she was going to do something until she found out that I don't live with them. That's when she asked me if I had borderline personality disorder. I said no, and she suggested that I go home. That's all. And Full Weight says, so why would they both be in trouble? There's no logic behind that at all. And OP replies, it's because when he locked me in there, I broke a lot of things and threw stuff. I definitely should not have done that, but yeah. I don't know about that. I think if somebody is falsely imprisoning you, you have the right to start breaking their stuff at a certain point, right? Freeing yourself is a top objective.
Yeah, and this whole situation just makes me so upset. OP might be better to talk with the Domestic Violence Resource Center. The police, depending on where you live, are not always the best at responding to domestic violence calls. They don't always understand how all that stuff works. But a Domestic Violence Resource Center may be able to help OP get the help she needs.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Setting Time Limits on My Wife's Showers After Her Exercise Classes? For her New Year's resolution, my wife decided to join a local gym and take exercise classes a few days per week. The goal with weight loss in mind. I really appreciated this because she had grown by several sizes in the 5 years that we've been together. I've always been super supportive of her, and she's actually lost quite a bit of weight while taking these classes, which is a big win for me. Unfortunately, she has been coming home increasingly sore, and she has been using a combination of pain relief, patches, and long hot showers to dull the pain away so that she can sleep. She takes the classes in the evening a little bit before bed. She obviously needs to shower anyways because nobody wants to go to bed all sweaty and dirty, but the length of time that she's showering has become ridiculous. She used to take 10-minute showers and now she's taking 20-minute showers at the very least. I understand that she needs to sleep because she works full time, but it makes me really frustrated from a money-saving perspective. Our gas bills were high enough before she started doing this. Well, on Monday night, she actually exceeded 20 minutes and I had had enough. This was becoming an unacceptable situation. I decided that if she did it again, that I would have to do something to make her get out quicker. What I decided was to adjust the hot water output to stimulate the water heater running out of hot water. Usually, when I sense this, I quickly finish showering, since nobody wants to stand there bathing in ice cold water. Well, she had clearly hurt herself again after last night's class because she could barely get through the front door. She said that her legs really hurt and she quickly went to the shower. At the 22-minute mark, I put my plan into action, and I initially thought that it was working, but suddenly I heard my wife shout that the water had become ice cold, and she actually ran out of the shower with shampoo still in her hair. I had clearly adjusted the temperature too much. Worse still, our water heater is in a utility closet right next to the master bathroom. So when she rushed out of the shower, she could see me tinkering with the controls. She asked me what I was doing, and I explained the whole situation honestly and completely. and how her actions made me feel. I really think that I deserved credit for that, but my wife clearly disagreed. She called me a controlling jerk and banished me to the living room to sleep on the couch all night. I only got about 2 hours of sleep last night, and trying to function today has been such a struggle. I just wish that my wife had some common sense and was cost conscious for her showers. Better yet, she could improve her exercise posture so that she wouldn't be in pain. I just know that if I were to offer these helpful tips, though, she would go off on me. I just feel so trapped, like my opinion doesn't matter at all, but clearly my wife thinks that I'm the villain here. I'm feeling really defeated. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
I've got the world's smallest violin here for OP. Yeah, you're definitely being a jerk here. First of all, instead of having an adult conversation with her about money saving, you decided to just mess with the water heater. Like, it sounds like this was entirely no discussion whatsoever. OP was just like, how can she not read my mind and know that I'm upset about the hot water usage? I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. I think that that's really the crux of this, is like, he's not even trying to communicate with her. He hasn't voiced his frustration. He hasn't mentioned that they're exceeding their monthly budget. And those are important things to kind of like talk about. And like, say, from a monetary standpoint, you know, we're spending more on our utilities, you know, 5% more on our utilities per month or something like that. And, you know, point out the real cost of that.
Secondly, like, he doesn't seem at all concerned that she's working herself so hard that she can barely walk.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that...
I actually wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. Like, he's like, oh, well, we're wasting all this money on the water. And it's like, but you're not worried because she's, like, so injured from exercising? You've never thought to sit down and be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be hurting yourself?
Yeah, I think that if they are pushing her this hard, then this is not a good situation. There are certain limits that your body can undergo. And she should be consulting with a medical professional and making sure that she isn't doing anything to permanently injure herself.
Right. And like, that's why you have to kind of like rotate your muscles a lot of times when you're exercising. And it's normal to have some muscle soreness or stiffness like the next day. Like if you work your legs really hard, they may be a bit sore, but it shouldn't be so bad you can barely get through the door.
Yeah. So I think that this is a lot of... I think it's very concerning that she's having this much trouble moving and whatnot, and that she should probably talk to a doctor if this is, you know, a level of exercise that shouldn't be causing this amount of pain. But also, like, he should be more concerned about her health.
Yeah, that's it too. And then like he's complaining about not getting sleep, and he's like, well, she needs to do this to sleep, otherwise she's in agonizing pain. And it's like, so you don't care if your wife can't sleep and is in agonizing pain if you get less money off on your water bill? Like,
yeah.
This whole thing, he seems very self-centered. He wants her to work herself to the bone so she's thin enough for him, but then he doesn't care at all if she's constantly in pain, if she can't sleep.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it's tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber has a joke.
What might the necklace say to the bracelet?
Well, the necklace might say to the bracelet, I am the preferred piece of jewelry. Have you ever seen anybody wear you? No.
You're so charming.
Oh, charming. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I have Earl Grey.
It especially makes sense because it's a charm bracelet in the picture. Nice little 90s charm bracelet, this one right here.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy spectacular Saturday. Folks, we're having a live stream soon, like next Friday. Wow, it's sneaking up on us. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it involve the showering habits of partners.
If you're concerned that your partner is using too much water in the shower, maybe try having a conversation with them before you resort to sabotage.
Or, also, don't force your partner to shower if they smell like coffee.
Or that too, yes, I forgot about that one.
Yes. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.